In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to apply for a spouse open work permit outside Canada. Without wasting time, let's quickly dive in. So the first thing you do on your web browser is to type in cic.gc.ca or you type in canada.ca. Once you do that, you are going to choose English or French, depending on what works for you. And then once that opens up, you scroll down to where it says work, you click on that. Then get a work permit. Then temporary workers. And then finally apply for a work permit. Once you do that, you go straight to how to apply. And then you are going to answer a few questions. So here it says, where are you applying from? So I'm going to say outside Canada, and then get the application to work in Canada. So once you click on that, now it's going to ask you a few more questions. How are you applying? Online recommended. And where are you applying from? Here I'm going to choose Ghana. And then here it's going to tell you that for online applications from Ghana, you have to get the visa office requirements for applicants in Ghana. So depending on where you're applying from, your home country, you are going to see something similar like this for your country. And it's going to look exactly like this. This example right here, work permit, Accra visa office instruction. Take the time to go through it and see if there are other extra information that you might require in your home country. So once you do that, we are going to go to what? Create an account or sign in. Once that opens up, down here, if you don't have any cic account, you are going to register here. But if you do have an IRCC account, it can also be called CIC. If you have one, you are going to sign in with your GC key, or you can choose to sign in with your sign-in partner. So for this demo, I am going to sign in with my GC key. So after you answer all the security questions and you sign in into your account, up down here, as you can see where my arrow is pointing, if you have applications that you've submitted, like it says up here, this is where you're going to see it, right? And if you have applications that you haven't submitted, it's going to show down here, right? So, but because we're starting a brand new application, we are going to do what? Apply to come to Canada. So before we start this application process, I also want you guys to understand that I'm going to leave this new policy about open work permit. I'll leave it in the description area below so that you can go through it when you're doing this application to see if any of the changes applies to any one of you, because there are options here for people under provincial nominee, study permit, work permit, and the rest of them. So go through this this public policy, the new policy that came out, and see if there is anything that affects you being able to get your spouse on an open work permit, right? So let's keep going. So now we are going to do what? Apply to come to Canada. Once you click on that, we go down here where it says visitor visa, study or work permit, and we click on that. Then we are going to answer the eligibility questions. What would you like to do in Canada? I would say work. How long are you planning to stay? I would say temporarily, more than 6 months. Select the code that matches the one on your passport. So for this one, this demo, I am using Ghana. What is your current country or territory of residence? If you're presently in Canada, you should select Canada. So this is a spouse open work permit outside Canada. So it is going to be country outside of Canada. Do you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or resident or permanent resident and is 18 years or older? If you do, you choose that. If no, simply indicate no. What is your date of birth? So for this demo, I am going to use 1988. And what am I going to use here? Let's use May 1. Okay, Next. So this is just the made-up number there. Are you a lawful permanent resident of the United States with a valid US citizenship and immigration services? If it's a yes for you, you choose that. If no, click on no and keep going. I have a job offer from my employer. So if you are someone who is trying to apply for a specific work permit, then this is going to be you. But for this demo, we are trying to apply for a spouse open work permit. So it's going to be no. Next. And then find out, do you plan to work in one of the following categories? Again, an open work permit lets you work for any employer. So for us, this is going to be a no. Will you be coming to Canada under an active public policy? Not that one, no. So this is the one we're going to choose here. Are you a spouse, common law partner, or dependent child of a person who has or is applying in any of this, right? So work permit for a job in National Occupation Classification O, A, and B, or a study permit and is a full-time student at a university, community college, and the rest of them. So here we are going to choose yes. Have you recently graduated? So this is for students trying to get a postgraduate work permit. I will say no, and then next. Then what is your marital status? I'm going to say married. What is your province of destination? So here you choose what fits you. I'm going to choose Alberta. And next. So now it's telling me that based on the information you provided, your results are below. So it's saying that you may be eligible to come to Canada to work with an open work permit. So let's continue. So now it's just going to tell you a couple of things to do. So I'm going to hit continue again. What type of work permit do you want to apply for? So I want to apply for this one right here, a work permit for a spouse, common law partner, or child of a skilled worker or international student. So the one we are looking for is a work permit of a spouse or common law partner. So we are going to choose that. Next. Are you accompanying a family member that has status in Canada or has recently been approved to come to Canada? This might be a confusing question. You might think it's a no, but it's going to be a yes. And the reason is if you click on this arrow here, it says this means you'll be staying with a family member who is in Canada, who is already in Canada, or has applied to come to Canada and has been accepted as a visitor, worker, or student. So I will say yes. Next. So have you ever committed or been arrested? I would say no, depending on what works for you. Have you had any medical exam performed by an IRCC? If you have, you choose yes. If no, say no. I'm going to stick with no here. Have you visited or lived in any one of the designated countries for 6 consecutive months in the last year? So here it's going to say see a list of designated countries. If you try to click on this, it's going to exit you from this application process. So what they're trying to tell us here is in this place, all you need to do is you type in your country of residence. So for this demo, I am working with Ghana, and it's just telling me that I would need to provide a medical exam, right? It says here, Ghana medical exam. Yes, that is all it is trying to tell you. So I would say yes. Next. And now it's just telling me exactly the same thing I just told you guys. Based on your answer, you need to get a medical exam performed by an authorized doctor. In the description area of this video, I will leave a link on how to find an authorized physician in your country to help for anybody looking for ways to get their medical exam done. So next. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? Although this isn't really what we're applying for right now, we're applying for a spouse open work permit. But let's just say you are a student or you are an individual on a work permit or a student coming to Canada, and you want to take your spouse along with you, and you're trying to apply to get your study permit or your work permit rather, then this is where you are going to do what? answer yes, because this time around you're also trying to apply for your spouse at the same time. In the description area of this video as well, I have a 3-minute video on how I explained if you can use your personal GC account to apply for your spouse. So if you're a little bit confused and that's the option you want to choose, take a look at that video in the description area. It's going to help you. For this one, we are going to stick with spouse open work permit of someone who is just trying to apply for a spouse open work permit. So here I'm just going to do what? Say no. But if you're trying to apply for you and your spouse at the same time, then you are going to indicate yes and follow the prompt, right? So no, next. Are you giving someone access to your application? If you choose yes, then you're going to present. Part of the requirements is going to be a representative form. So for this demo, I'm going to say no because you're doing everything yourself. Next. In the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprints and photo biometrics for an application to come to Canada? I will say no. Next. There are fees associated with this application. Will you be paying your fees? I would say yes, I will be paying my application fees. Next. Are you able to make a digital copy? I would say yes and next. Will you be paying your application fees online? I would say yes, I will. Next. Now you have the opportunity to review your answers, right? So if you feel like there are certain things that you really want to change, you can click on this arrow right here and then go, it's going to bring it up for you and you work on the changes that you want. But if you want to start afresh altogether, all you would have to do is you go here where it says start again and you click on that to start afresh, right? So for this particular demo, I am going to assume that everything is good. So I'll scroll all the way down and hit continue. And then it's just going to show you the steps on what to do. Use your account, save your application, upload your documents, and pay your fees. So next. Now this is my document checklist. So right here, for this application, I am going to fill out an application for work permit made outside of Canada, IMM 1295. So, and also the family information. This one is kind of easy to fill out. I will show you guys what it looks like, but it's kind of self-explanatory. For this one, I will show you guys how to fill this out. So as you can see on my screen, this is an application for work permit made outside of Canada, and we are going to be filling this application form for specifically spouse open work permit, right? And here it's IMM 1295E. So if you do have a UCI number, sometimes if it's your first time of applying, you don't have a UCI number, so you're going to leave this blank. But if you have one, you can put that information there. Then you choose how you want service in. Under personal details, number 1, you are going to provide your full name. 2, you're going to choose if you prefer to be called in a different name. You provide, number 3, you're going to provide your sex, your date of birth, where you were born, country or territory where you are from, and then if you're a citizen of that country. Then for number 7, it's current country or territory of residence. So here you are going to provide your country or territory, which is where you are currently located, or your current country of residence. If you're a citizen there, you choose that. Also remember that you do have all these drop down arrows here to choose from, right? Then here it's going to ask you previous countries or territories of residence. During the past 5 years, have you lived in any country or territory other than your country of citizenship or your current country or territory of residence? So I would say no. And then for number 9, country or territory where you are applying, is it the same as your country or territory of residence? You indicate yes or no. Then number 10, you are going to provide your current marital status, right? Again, this is a spouse open work permit, so you are going to indicate what fits you. There are options here: common law. Specifically, I think it's going to be like someone who is in a common law relationship or who is married, right? Then you provide that information there, and then you provide the date when you guys got married, because it's going to be part of the requirements. And then you are going to provide the name of your current spouse or common law partner, just like I did here. And then we go to personal details. So if you've been previously in a common law relationship, you're going to indicate that yes and put details. If no, choose no. And it's definitely going to close this gaps here. Then you're going to provide your language. So in here, you can choose what fits you for your country. Choose if you are able to communicate in English and French, or just English, depending on what works for you. Then here it's going to ask you if you've taken a test from a designated testing agency to assess your proficiency in English or French. I'm going to choose no here simply because the country where this application is coming from is an English-speaking country, right? So basically there is no requirement for English testing. For passport, you're going to provide your passport number, country or territory where it was issued, the issue date, and the expiry date. If you have a national identity document, provide that information. If you don't, simply say no. If you have a US PR card, provide the details below. If you don't, check off no and keep going. Then under contact information, you're going to provide your current mailing address, the apartment number, street way, the city, the country, and telephone number and email. So in here it says all correspondence. Here it says all correspondence will go to this address unless you indicate an email address below. So remember to put your email here, as they would kind of reach out to you through your email, which is a lot faster. Now, details of intended work in Canada. This is the most important place. It says, what type of work permit are you applying for? So there is a drop-down menu here. You're going to see options. This is what we're looking for, open work permit. So from number 2 till number 6, we are not going to do anything here. We're going to leave it blank. And the reason is because an open work permit lets you work for any employer in Canada. So if you were to be applying for a specific work permit, which isn't what we're applying here, then you're going to fill out this information. So the spouse open work permit we are applying for lets your spouse, or if you're the spouse yourself doing this application, it lets you work for any employer. So we are going to leave number 2 to number 5 blank. Then for education, you're going to provide, it says, have you had any post-secondary education, including university, college, or apprenticeship training? If no, indicate no. If yes, indicate yes and provide details here. So as you can see, it says if you answered yes, give full details of your highest level of post-secondary education. So I just put in like program, like a degree program, 2006 to 2007 to 2010 rather. Marketing, the university. This is just a demo example. And then you do the same for your employment. So for the employment, it says give details of your employment for the past 10 years, including if you've held any government positions such as civil servant, judge, police officer, mayor, member of parliament, hospital administrator, right? So for this demo, just to make this video quick and short, I had to use from 2010-05 to 2021, which covers the 10 years gap. But for you, if you're doing this by yourself, if you've been working with one employer for that long, then definitely this is going to be the same structure for you. But if you've, for the past 10 years, if you've worked as in with multiple companies or different companies, then all you have to do, like follow the same structure where you have when you started working to when you stopped, and then you start again from where you resumed the new job till like the time you finish, or if you're still in that location. But the goal here is, it says give details of your employment for the past 10 years, right? And then once you finish that, pretty much it's almost finished. Now you have to like answer this background information questions. You're going to answer questions about tuberculosis. I'm not going to go into this ones because they are self-explanatory. So you take the time, read each and every one of them, and answer yes or no for what fits you. The thing I want to talk about is this part here. Details for intended work in Canada, open work permit. Do not fill out any information right here because we are applying for spouse open work permit. Even if you're applying for just open work permit, do not put any information down here from number 2 to number 5. And then towards the end here, what you would do is you're going to check off yes or no if you consent to be contacted by IRCC, and you're going to put the date you completed the application. So for this one, you can leave it blank if you want. I just put like a signature using my name. The reason is because we are doing an online application. You are going to do, as in generate a signature during the payment, which I showed in the previous video I talked about, which is the answering the eligibility questions and uploading all your forms and filling that out. So all you have to do is, if you get to this point, you can leave it blank or you can just put your name like this. It doesn't really matter. Then all you do is what? You validate. So good. So let's see this information here. Once you validate it, it says validation completed successfully. Please print the entire application and sign and date the last page. This page contains barcodes that facilitate data entry of your application. Then it says, if you're applying online, you do not need to sign your application form by hand. You'll be asked to provide an electronic signature once you're ready to transmit your documents to CIC. And that was exactly what I said. So now that we've finished this, all you have to do is, if you know how to do that, go ahead, upload this form because we just validated it. All you have to do now is to save it to your computer, upload it in your CIC or IRCC account or GCC account, upload it in that application process and all the documents needed, and then transmit your payment. You filled out the application for work permit made outside of Canada. Do the same for family information. You provided your passport, your digital photo, and then request for medical exam and proof of relationship. Those are all the supporting documents, and this is just an optional document. Sometimes these things can be confusing. All you need to do is on this instruction here, you click on this question mark and it tells you what to do or what everything means. So for this family information, if you click on it, it's going to give you a detailed information on each and every one of them. If you click on the question mark for passport, it gives you a detailed information on what they are looking for. So make sure that you utilize this question mark here if you are a little bit confused on what to do here. So let me just upload this document and then we'll finish up this application. Okay, so I had to pause to upload all these documents. So like I said, if you want to know how to fill out the application for work permit made outside of Canada for spouse open work permit, you see the link in the description area of this video, and then you watch how to fill out that application form. But for this one, we're assuming that we have filled out all the forms, and then I have all the supporting documents that I've uploaded. Then the next thing you're going to do, these ones are optional documents. So here is going to tell you work permit, how much it is, biometrics and open work permit holder fee, total of 340 Canadian dollars. So you are just going to click on this button here next. Then once we do that, it's just going to give you your declaration and electronic signature, because part of the process of using the online format is that even after completing the application form, you don't need to sign it because you'll be providing your electronic signature here, right? So take the time to go through, and then so you're going to click on select I agree, and then signature, you agree by submitting this application. So you're going to put your given name and your last name, and then you're going to provide your security question, and then you're going to sign it, right? After signing it, this is the last phase of the application process. So it's going to give you kind of a breakdown again of what you're doing. So again, take time before you transmit and pay. Take time and look through and see everything and make sure that you have everything to the way you want it. So then we actually signed off. Here you have your name, which is like your electronic signature, and then the next thing you're going to do is you click on transmit and pay. So we click on transmit and pay, and then it's going to tell you again, show you the total, transmit and pay. Once you click on that, then as usual, you put your card holder name, your card number, your expiring date, and your code, and then you click on checkout and you make your payment. If you have questions, leave it in the description area below and I'll attend to it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.